welcome to another edition of the Bermuda Referees show here on Islandstats. Joining me today is none other than longtime official Lyndon Rayner. You now serve in the capacity of the, I want to say, FIFA instructor for Bermuda. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Sorry, I'm going to call. I've been sent away on a couple of courses, and so now my job is transition from the field of play into the classroom and try to bring the referees up to speed on the new laws, and hopefully we can get that out to the coaches as well, because they play an integral part in making sure that they train their players according to the new laws.
Now, for referees in Bermuda, referees worldwide, getting the information across not only for the officials, but also for players and, like you said, coaches to understand their role in the game and not incite things when they think somebody's going against them. Is that one of the pet peeves of refereeing globally?
Yeah, I think it is. I've always said there's three versions or three views on a football field. You have the referee, you have the players, and you have the coaches. Many times you hear coaches yelling at players, and the players are looking back at the coach saying, what am I doing? And then obviously everyone has their view on the referee's decision. So on the field of play, you got three decisions, but at the end of the day, it's the referee's decision that matters, and it's important that the referee does get it right.
Now, last week, speaking with the three gentlemen about decision making and so forth, and we come down to always that whoever loses, it's always because of bad refereeing and so forth. How do you think FIFA, CONCACAF, any organization would look to change that mindset and start saying, hey, listen, you gave away the ball 200 times. You know what I mean? Look at what the players are doing wrong as opposed to what the referee, because they say one call makes a difference. Well, one pass makes a difference as well. Your thoughts, because you came from a player's background into the referees, so you've seen both sides of it. What would you say you've learned when you joined the ranks of the referee that you didn't know when you were a player?
Well, first of all, when I became a referee, I realized I didn't know the laws as much as I thought I did, which I think is still the current trend amongst even professionals down to the lower levels of football. But FIFA once did a stats or did a study on refereeing, and what they found is that less than 3% of referees' decisions really influence the outcome of a match. So as you just stated, a lot of the times teams lose matches because of themselves and not so much of a referee's decision. But I accept there are some times where a referee's decision has greatly impacted on the outcome of a match. It's unfortunate. FIFA is trying to reduce those stats. They're thinking about video replays. We have goal line technology. The referees are now more equipped with electronic mics, so they can talk to each other. They can help each other in situations without it being widely known that a mistake has been made or a decision that needed some extra scrutiny has been made. There's some things that FIFA is trying to do. I think the biggest one would be the video replay.
From a player standpoint and from a fan, do you think holding up a game for a video replay is something that takes away from momentum?
I have not been able to see the full mechanics of how that's going to work, but I'm hoping that it does not interrupt the flow of football, because if it does, I think you'll lose the beauty of the game. Now,
last week, I was speaking with those gentlemen, and one of them was referring to a time where it was a cup final. He indicated that he was sure of a call, but it weighed on his mind, and you gave him some advice. So what advice to the new batch of referees would you be giving to them to hang in there, be long-serving, respect the game, understand and learn the game, and try to influence others to come on board?
I think anyone who wants to be a referee, first of all, you have to learn the law. You have to know the law and understand the law, and then understand how it is applied. It's not just about going out there and blowing the whistle. You really have to know the application of the law, know the law, apply it properly, be confident in your decisions, accept that you're not going to always get them right, accept the criticism, and build on from there. As for new referees coming through, it's a little difficult in Bermuda because everyone knows each other, so I hate to say it sometimes, the comments come out very personal to referees, and it can be discouraging. But we're trying to keep them there. We're trying to encourage them to stay in there. There's a good group of young referees in the lower division. If they progress and stick with it, they would have a great opportunity going further. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take some mental strength to stay there.
I want to ask your opinion on something wide-ranging in football. When you're watching a football game and a foul is committed in the first minute that is considered a harsh foul, and it's outside the box or inside the box. Let's say outside the box. And the referee blows it down. 2 minutes later, but there's no card given. 2 minutes later, that same infringement is called inside the box, is committed inside the box, but no foul is called. Do you often say, "Wow, he's looking on the cautious side"? Do you, when you're watching? Because I often say it myself. Say, the referee's looking at it on the cautious side as opposed to calling what he saw.
All I say is pressure. There's a lot of pressure up in the high divisions, and whether you're refereeing at the high level or at the lower level, you have to be 100% sure of your call, and that involves the calling of the foul and then the right application thereafter, whether it deserves a card, whether it's a red or yellow card. So I think referees, generally have to be sure that they're making the right decision, and if they're not sure, we teach them. If you're not sure, then you give the benefit of doubt to the defending team.
Does the line for the penalty box skew that decision at times?
I'm sure it does.
Because inside is one thing, outside is another.
Yeah. I'm sure that is a fact of every referee.
Right.
And again, as a referee, you always want to make sure you're making the call 100% correctly. And you got to accept that sometimes the referee only has one chance to see that incident. The challenge I put to people is to actually watch a game, make the decision the same time as the referee, and then I often see in the replay, grade yourself and see whether you've made the correct decision, because most people go after the referee after they've seen the replay, and the replay is about 5 replays from different angles. And when you appreciate being on the field, the referee only has one chance, one view. And though the referee has a duty to make sure he's up with play and has knowledge of the law, unfortunately, human nature says that you're not going to always get it right. And you're human. And, we all have different personalities. We all have our pressure points. And I wouldn't say some referees bother it, but it's the nature of the game.
You've been refereeing a very long time. I wanted to emphasize the longs. But you've been in cup finals and so forth. Have you ever said to yourself in a cup, especially in a close cup final or even a league title match, you've ever said to yourself, all right, it's 5 minutes to go. Please, nothing happen where I've got to make a decision that's going to impact the outcome of this game? You're human.
Every referee has. When the game is that close and you're getting down to 5 minutes and everything's going well, you start saying to yourself, let me just get through this last 5 minutes without something happening. And chances are, as soon as you say that, something happens. Which tests your mettle, it tests your character to say, you know what, it is what it is, and I have to, we don't go there with any predetermined favorites.
Well, I know you're not feeling well, so I'll let you go. Thank you very much. Lyndon Rayner, Bermuda Football Association FIFA instructor. Joining me now is a 14-year veteran of refereeing in Bermuda, Wendy Woodley. Wendy, as a female, over the years it must have been challenging coming into a male-dominant sport. But what were your experiences like when you first started?
Oh gosh, I had a tough time at the beginning. I mean, in a male-dominating sport, males always underestimated the intelligence of what a female would know in the world of football as being a referee, female referee. So I did have many challenges. The calls, the comments, you're a female, you shouldn't be refereeing. You know, other comments such as, "Oh, yeah, woman, your role is home in the kitchen, not on the football field."
Right.
Yeah, I have a lot of those comments. Yeah.
But obviously, thick skin makes you
Yes.
stronger
Yes, indeed.
because you've lasted 14 years. So,
Yes, I have.
has those comments with the level of which you've been able to officiate changed the mindset of some of those who were making those comments many years ago?
Some, yes, and others, no, still
Right.
remain the same.
Yes.
Same comments. And no, it's gotten a lot better, which actually after the matches, you know, players began to shake your hand. Before, no, oh, you made the wrong call, you don't know what you're doing. But now it's become much easier, it's much better, and I feel more comfortable. Yeah.
What would you say has been some of the rule changes that kind of you struggle with throughout the years? Because there's been several from I guess when you started to today, when now different rules or different infringements mean different things. The letter of the law has changed and all that. So what have you struggled with over the years? Those changes.
Oh, gee. The offside rule always seems to
They change it every 3 years. Yes.
change. As per uniform, some things is not permitted. You try to explain to the players, oh, they're not hearing it. Who says that? Thinking the rule came from us as referees,
Right.
which it didn't.
Right.
So I guess as time changes, rules change, and it becomes not so much difficult to put in place, but to actually get the players to follow through with. Yeah.
You look more comfortable over the last few years, especially when you're making calls. I remember years ago when you first started, it was almost like, I'm going to blow the whistle, but I'm not sure how hard I should blow it. But now you can hear the forcefulness. Is that a confidence booster? Is that some of the things you've been working on with the instructors? And so just that level of blowing the whistle to stamp the thing that, yeah, I knew it was a foul, or I'm calling the right thing?
Yes, my confidence level has come up a great deal, and attending the majority of the FIFA courses that we have every year, that has built my confidence a lot, and also the training that the assessors and the instructors have here.
What advice would you give to, and we'll use females for now, someone that's not technically sound enough or doesn't feel they have the ability to play football but love the game and still want to play a part, but can join in an official capacity as opposed to just watching on the sideline? What encouragement or what words of wisdom would you give to that person to try it out at least once?
Well, first of all, I think officiating is very interesting, and I think if you have a heart for the sport and a passion, like everyone does, including players,
Yes.
I think you should come out and try it. I came out, I tried it back when Aldrin Savory
Yes.
was there,
Yes.
and I just decided one day I'm going to do it. My son was at the age of 13 then, and I've loved it ever since. So if you have a passion for the sport and you truly enjoy it, come out and give it a shot. Bring that coat with thick skin, because you're
Yes.
going to get a lot of comments, not the comments that you would like, but just be there and come out for the good of the sport.
Yeah. Last week I spoke to 3 young men about just that comments, the abuse, the verbal abuse, not only from players, coaches, but from spectators. And I asked them how they think that issue should be addressed, because from a female standpoint, it's got to be a little worse, because, I mean, the guys are going to hear something, but 9 times out of 10, the female probably gets it a lot worse than the male.
Yes, oh gosh. Females. We've been called, I think, every name in the book.
Right.
But we still tend to come out because we enjoy it.
Right. How do you think that issue should be addressed with? Because I made a suggestion that there's some communication between the referees and the association with clubs, that if there are some unruly spectators who literally get out of hand, they're either removed from the ground or the match stops.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think that if that spectator or fan is being verbally outright loud and abusive, I think that they should be removed from the grounds. In a case such as that, I think the referee should blow the whistle, then speak to the club security, and recommend that that fan or spectator be removed from the grounds, or else they're not going to continue with the match. Yeah.
But that's something, and I said to these guys last week, that's something that's got to be a topic of discussion. Well, it should have been a topic of discussion early in the season, but it's something that needs to be addressed. So going forward, everybody understands it, because we've got to get a hold of this unruly behavior, not just in the stands, but on the field as well. So a stand has to be made at some point in time that we need to get some level of control back in the game.
Yeah.
You're a mother.
Yes.
You have daughters and son involved in football. And it must be worrying for them knowing that, hey, mom's going to be out there and she's either running the line or she's in the middle, and we don't know what's going to happen.
For you.
You know, what is the topic of conversation with especially your daughters about what they're hearing, because they're at the games?
Yeah, my daughters are used to it by now. But sometimes they're like, oh, Mom, I'm not going to come to the game with you today. I think I'm going to take a break on the comments. Not just watching you, but to take a break on the comments. I really can't handle the comments that come out, especially when they really don't know the rules of the game. You know, so, and I understand where they're coming from. And I don't argue with them. And when they do come, I'm glad for them to come. It's supportive. They're my #1 fans. So, and I'm grateful for that.
What are your feelings on the shortages of officials now, and how we can address that number to rise?
Well, first of all, I think we need to crack down on the abusiveness towards referees, the abuse at the games, the outright, the cussing and the carrying on, and all of that abusive language, and let it be a more calm atmosphere. And once it becomes a calm atmosphere, I think it would encourage more people to come out and officiate. And because those people that watch and come out to support football and come to the games, and they see all this around them, it creates where, oh gosh, no, I can't put up with that. No, I'm not going to allow anyone to do that to me. So they like, oh no, I'm not going to do it. I'll pass.
Right. When you would have started say 14 years ago, and now you go out to a Premier Division match and you look at the crowd before the start of the game, did you envision it would be like this some 14 years down the road, where you can probably count the amount of people that are at a Premier Division game? For
real, 14 years ago, probably say even back 20 years ago, the football games used to be an event, an outing to look forward to. Everyone used to come out with families. It was absolutely, it was a good environment. The environment today is not so good. It's empty. Not much spectators and fans. And people come out there, males come out there to play football, to put on a good show. But apart from the abusive language and some of the situations that go on at football, it prevents us from having a good atmosphere and a lot of people. And it doesn't create a family environment, if you understand. So when people come out to football, you don't see that family type. You see just one or two, or a couple of guys coming out with their friends, or females coming out with their friends, but it's not family oriented.
Right.
You know?
I happened to be at the Sunday match with North Village and Flanagan's, and I remember maybe 10 years ago, North Village used to be packed with their own spectators, which now it's... and I know most of them haven't passed on. They've just decided, you know what, I'm not going to kind of... And it's a sad situation, but getting back to the officiating side, it must be a little frustrating for you that there's only a handful of females, but there's a group of young ladies coming in the junior ranks. How do you plan to work with them to ensure that they kind of put earplugs on some of that abuse that they will get as they get older and into the higher ranks?
Well, basically, it's just when you do come out to officiate, just to like, okay, I'm gonna block everything out, and I'm just gonna concentrate solely on the game, the players, the whistle, the referee. That's it. The comments, leave it alone. You know.
Do you get nervous before a game? What's some of the things that run through your mind as you're getting to the game, as you're going out on the field?
At times I do get nervous, and then other times I'm like, this is no different from another game, so I just continue, and I get instructions from the referee, and I just do what I have to do.
I remember having a conversation with you after your first cup final. I'm trying to remember which one it was. You were talking about what you felt, how you felt that you were glad it was over, that first one's off.
Yeah.
You know, kind of take you back to the first one, because this is a lasting memory, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Everyone shows you. No matter what call you make, you're never right, you're never wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and you just have to get out there with your thick skin and just make the right calls. I mean, referees are not perfect, but we're out there to make the best calls we can.
All right, well, thank you very much, Randy. I do appreciate you joining me on Bermuda Football Association's Referee Corner.
Thank you very
Have
much.
a good evening. Yeah. All right, well, now I'm joined by none other than the General Secretary of the Bermuda Football Association, David Sabir, who is also a Bermuda Football Association referee. Well, tonight we want to talk about refereeing. Obviously, you put your hand up anytime football needs extra help, and obviously, referees was a crisis. Sabir puts his hand up.
Yes.
The way you get involved in refereeing, and some of the things that you've been, I wouldn't say allowed to do, but some of the things that you've seen happen throughout football, from an international to domestic. How do you relate those things as far as refereeing that you bring back and you try to instill in your game and pass that knowledge on to other local referees?
Yeah, well, simply the laws of the game are universal.
Right.
There is no separate rule in Bermuda than it is for the same 209 countries involved in FIFA.
Right.
Right? Which is the beauty of the sport. It's a universal game. It has universal rules that are applied equally all over the world, right? So that makes being a referee in terms of the application of the laws of the game quite easy. Once you know what those laws are, you try your best to apply them to the situation that's unfolds during the game. Now, one of the things that excites me about refereeing is that you actually do your part to help. You do your part to ensure that games are played. So whilst I'm not on the line or in the middle every single week like the majority of the other referees, whenever there is an acute shortage, I have made myself available to assist mostly in the western parishes, and more western than anywhere else, primarily because of convenience. But there's not to say that I won't at some point, if necessary, find myself in other parts of the island. But it's just good to be a servant of the game. You know?
You've been in football quite a long time, and helping out officiating is only one part of that. But what advice would you give to a youngster who can possibly benefit in ways of running the line and or blowing the whistle?
Yeah, refereeing is about leadership. You know, you either make a decision if you want to be part of the solution of the game of football, and there are various ways in which you could do that. You know. The game cannot be played unless we have qualified referees or an assistant referees. So we either find a way to be a part of that solution, or we be a hindrance and watch football and the opportunity to play football in our young people start to slip away. To me, that will be tragic, and I'm sure so many other people feel that way. Now, unfortunately, in the game, there are negative hotspots in a match that always go toward decisions that referees have to make. And again, this is where mental toughness, this has to be something that you don't take personally. You have to show strength of character. But at the end of the day, you also have to be sure that what it is that you're doing is in the best interest of the game, not for one team, one player, one coach, one set of fans. But you have to be strong-willed, and you have to do what is required as a referee without fear or favor. And to me, like I said earlier, it's about being a leader. It's about managing the number of players that are on the pitch, as well as managing the entire game for 90 minutes without being, in some regards, without being the actual center of attraction in the game, because it's about the players and it's about the game.
Right. What would you consider the one decision you've made, you go back in your mind and say, was it right? Was it right? Do you have one of those moments?
I really don't. I mean, at the end of the day, once a match is done, you critique, how you performed in the match, and that's multifaceted from the standpoint of your positioning, which allowed you to to make the call that I made. Your application of the laws of the game, i.e., it's in the opinion of the referee. So, in my opinion, I tend to think that I made the best decision for the circumstances during the match at that time. So, but once that game is over, in fact, once that situation in the game is over, you have to move on, because the game requires you to focus and to be concentrated on the present. And again, you cannot, and I find this to be a very important aspect of being a referee. You cannot hold on to what might have been a flashpoint in the game, maybe a negative outcome from players or fans or the coaches, whatever the case may be. You cannot allow that to be the overriding factor in the way that you continue to manage yourself throughout the game.
But you often see that. Excuse me. You often see that in referees worldwide, going back to recover from a call that was made earlier.
Well, I mean, I think we have to be honest in that the one thing you cannot buy back is time.
Right.
The situation unfolds in such a way that, if you make a mistake in the game, and let's be fair, we're human beings.
Yes.
And on occasions and at times, we potentially make mistakes.
Yes.
Now, the person that I am, I tend to think that I also want to be honest with myself.
Right.
And if there is a moment in time where I may have, and I know I made a obvious mistake, I want to be able to put my hand up and say, yes, I think I got that one wrong, but I'm not going to try and go back and do something else that's wrong to make up for it. Because, the old saying, how we grew up, two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah. So put your hand up and you say, yeah, I got that one wrong. And what I mean by wrong, it was against the law of the game.
Right.
Not an opinion, against the law of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your advice to, say, a bunch of youngsters, school kids, that love football.
Yeah.
You want them to learn all facets of the game, not just playing, but also officiating, because only a handful of people go to the professional, but other people can stay involved in the game.
Yeah.
So if you were, say, going to a primary school tomorrow to talk about refereeing, what are some of the points you want to hit to enlighten them on the fundamentals of it, how fun it could be, and where it could take them?
I tell you what, once you learn the laws of the game, your whole outlook on the management, what happens in the match, the way you interact with players from both teams,
Right.
the skill set involved in management, you know?
Right.
It changes the whole outlook of football, you know. Believe it or not, it's a different view from inside the pitch, inside the field of play,
Right.
without actually being involved in the play.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
From a distance, we have the responsibility to administer the laws of the game and keep the players, you know, participating in accordance with those laws.
Right.
But in addition to that, there can only be certain players that will make it to the top level of the domestic league, the international arena, meaning they represent Bermuda, and then going on to be professional players or carve out careers as a player
Yes.
in the professional arena, right?
Yes. Yes.
But then there is the other side, which is being a referee, and there's massive opportunities out there.
Yes.
Massive opportunities, and this is the point that I know the chairman and those that have been referees in the international arena would say. You get the opportunity to participate in the game at a very high level if you take on the challenge, if you will, or the opportunity of being a referee. Two, if you are successful, and I know that there is an opportunity for Bermudians to become referees on the international level if they apply their trade and they learn the laws of the game, and they dedicate themselves and commit themselves to the long-term involvement in refereeing, that Bermuda will have a place on the international scene as referees. So you get to travel, you know, you get to travel under the auspices of the international or our regional CONCACAF, CFU,
Yes.
and FIFA.
Yes.
You meet in a wide network of individuals who are in refereeing from around the world. It's fantastic that the refereeing fraternity is so huge that, you know, you can be in a country not even associated with refereeing, but because you are part of that big family, you have, you know, a family in so many different countries.
Right,
you know,
right.
Referees they can make a living. They
Yes.
can make a living because the game is changing at the international level. It's changing, where referees do get paid, and I don't want to use the word paid because it sounds like it's becoming just the only thing that they do it for. But you know, the referees can make money
Right.
if they
It's a
get
job.
up to the highest level of in the international arena.
Right.
So, you know, from the standpoint of career, there is a career. There is a career in being an international referee. And I know that the chairman and the chairman of the BFA Referees Committee is going to be making this point over and over and over again. We have to get past the sort of like apprehension of being a referee in Bermuda into taking the opportunity to become a good referee in Bermuda, and hopefully an excellent referee that you can participate on the international scene in a very short period of time. I know that if I were much younger than I am now, and what I mean by much younger, I'm talking, you know, probably 1 stone and more, I would have certainly liked to see what it would have been like to try and get on the international refereeing list.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now that I know what I know, it seems like an exciting venture.
You would have been around when, and I'm not aging you, but anyway, the likes of Pee Wee Crockwell,
Yeah.
Charlie Marshall,
Yeah.
Savory, Grimes, and these guys were officiating,
Yeah.
and they kind of commanded respect from
course,
players,
yeah.
weren't taking anything from coaches, weren't taking anything. Where do you think we're lacking that unity group on the field of officials today?
It's kind of difficult to say because the era has changed. You know, some of the things around the game, you know, have changed a lot since those 35 years ago.
Right.
You know, yeah, you didn't date me, but I guess I dated myself.
Yes,
you know?
you did.
But you know, at the end of the day, people are now more familiar with the referees of today.
Right.
It's almost like the same generation is referee and player.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I'm not sure if that makes a difference, but at the end of the day, because of the smallness, the closeness of our community, familiarity sometimes breeds contempt. You know,
Yes.
and I'm not saying that our referees don't deserve the respect or can't command the respect as it was the case back then. But you know, let's be honest, there still were issues back then,
Right.
Because players are players.
Yes.
And but the outlook in terms of how the players actually, like you said, respected the referees may or may not be a little different than it is today. But I think at the end of the day, the referees, and you know, I include myself in that, we must be very good at what we do. You know, we must know the laws of the game inside out. We must apply the principles of refereeing every time we step on the pitch. This is how you gain the respect. You know, and I think that over time, you know, hopefully we'll be able to encourage people to look at refereeing differently.
Yes.
Not as that awful job or that awful part of football that nobody wants to be a part of, but more importantly seen as it being a necessary part of football, that without it, the game will suffer.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. David Sabir, for joining me on the Bermuda Football Association and Referee Coding.
Nice to be. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Audio Jungle.